Okay, we are here with old friend Moria Noonan, author of Spiritual Deceptions, the Church and the Culture, a comprehensive guide to discernment, and Ransomed from Darkness, the New Age Christian Faith and the Battle for Souls. Moira, nice to visit with you again. You're here at the Catholic Marketing Network.
Yes.
And you're talking about your books, and you also have a copy of the book of your priest who you work with, who had the introduction to your previous book.
Right, he's an exorcist out of Europe, yes.
How to recognize and protect oneself against the snares of the evil one.
Yeah,
now, this is a subject near and dear to your heart. I'll get those, don't worry about that.
Yeah.
This is a subject near and dear to your heart because you talked about how, in our previous conversations, and in your books, you talked about how you were into so much of this New Age stuff.
Right.
And how, of all things, Eucharistic adoration, the presence of the Eucharist made such a difference. That's a story I never get sick of.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It is, because actually we took all the New Agers in van loads, and we told them we were going to go to UFOs, see the UFOs up at High Desert in Arizona, and instead we all ended up at an adoration chapel over and over again. And this adoration chapel has 24/7 exposed monstrance, and it was a beautiful chapel. It had 5-foot statues of angels and little mini botanical gardens with waterfall, and it was environmentally it was really quite attractive as well. But the thing that's amazing is that everyone that was baptized Christian, like baptized Catholic, baptized Lutheran, baptized Episcopalian, baptized Methodist, but fallen away from any type of Christianity, they all felt the presence of the Holy Spirit there, and they were all happy to be there. And when I said to them, not that I wanted to go anywhere near UFOs at that point, I had no interest in them, I said, we could leave now if you want to. And they said, no, this adoration chapel is the best vortex in Arizona. We don't want to go to the UFOs. We don't want to go looking and trying to find, some spirit that may or may not be real. Everybody was converted and convicted and converted, except for the one guy who was not baptized.
And that's one of the reasons why baptism is so important.
Baptism is so important.
And by water and the Spirit. You got to have the water of the Spirit. People talk about Catholics say, "Oh, infant baptism." No, get that mark of the Holy Spirit early.
Well, if Jesus was baptized himself by John the Baptist, then why wouldn't we want to be baptized? Follow suit, in other words. So this whole idea of, and I meet people all the time when I give talks, and they say, I'm an auntie, I'm an uncle, I'm a grandparent, I'm a parent, and my children aren't going to let me get the grandchildren baptized, the nieces and nephews baptized. They don't want to get the next generation baptized. They think, let them do it on their own someday, or why bother? And if they could only understand how important baptism is, because it's in the Bible hundreds of times. Jesus himself got baptized. It leads the way to the sacramental life of the church and the sanctifying graces which we need. I never would have been converted probably had I not been baptized as a baby, because I was fallen away from the church for 30 years. So what grace was there to bring me back, to reel me in? Baptism.
And again, it's worth noting, because you said you were falling away for 30 years. Remember, St. Monica prayed for St. Augustine for 30 years before he came. So there is no time that is too late.
No time too late.
And even these people that you said when you ended up at the Adoration Chapel, they hadn't been going there looking for Christ. They were just looking for a vortex or some sort of spiritual high that they thought this gathering that you were doing was going to be getting, and you guys ended up there.
Right. They just thought, well, I want the supernatural. I'm a spiritual person. I want the supernatural. That's what you hear today in so many places. Yeah, and that's true. We are spiritual people, and the question is you can get the supernatural of the Holy Spirit, or you can get the supernatural demonic spirit. So I spent 30 years looking for God in all the wrong places, falling prey to the counterfeit gifts as the supernatural in the demonic spirit. And all of us that were there. But thank God, through the grace of Our Lady, spouse of the Holy Spirit, we were all touched at this chapel. And it was really important.
And it's worth noting that we're all amphibians. We're all part spirit, which is why people are always seeking the spiritual. We just aren't recognizing where that spirit comes from.
Right, exactly. And that's why we wrote the new book, Discernment. It's called Spiritual Deceptions in the Church and in the Culture, a Comprehensive Guide to Discernment. And that's why so many exorcist priests who have dealt with so many cases of people that have been involved in these things are happy to endorse the book. So we have several exorcists. We have this one here, An Exorcist Speaks, wrote the introduction of the book. The foreword was written by Father John Grigas of Marytown, now deceased, and he was, of course, an exorcist under Cardinal George for a long time. And many other top priests have written for the book in some of the chapters. So it's really got a lot to offer.
And if people want to find this book and find out more about what you're doing or book you to come down and speak, where can they go online?
They can go online at spiritbattleforsouls.org. They could go online at, they can actually go get the books through Amazon.com if they want to. They could get the books through through our website. They could get through spiritandtruth.com. Many different places. They can go on YouTube and find me.
All right. Well, in fact, they can find some previous interviews we did with you. Moria Noonan, thank you so much for your time. Great to see you again.